Italy in World War II, more surprising than you think. Italy's role in World War II is more surprising than you think. We often hear about the major players, Germany, Japan, the US, the UK, but Italy? They're often relegated to the comedic relief of history. Italy's story in World War II is a tangled web of ambition, betrayal, and ultimately, resilience. So, buckle up, because we're diving deep into 15 shocking facts about Italy in World War II you probably never knew. A nation divided, Italy's initial neutrality. At the dawn of World War II, Italy was, believe it or not, neutral. Mussolini, despite his budding bromance with Hitler, knew Italy wasn't ready for another war. They'd barely recovered from World War I. Plus, public opinion was divided. Joining Germany meant allying with a country that many Italians saw as, well, a little too intense. But Mussolini, ever the opportunist, saw a chance to grab some power while the rest of Europe was distracted. And so, in June of 1940, Italy officially joined the war on the side of the Axis powers. Bad decision, Benito. Pact with the devil, the Pact of Steel. This alliance between Italy and Germany wasn't some casual handshake agreement. Oh no, this was the Pact of Steel, signed in 1939, and it bound the two nations together in a military alliance for the next 10 years. On paper, it seemed like a good deal for Mussolini. He got to bask in the reflected glory of Germany's early victories. But in reality, the Pact of Steel was more like a pact with the devil. It shackled Italy to a war machine it couldn't control, dragging the country through the mud and back. Il Duce's delusions, Mussolini's grand ambitions. Mussolini wasn't just some power-hungry dictator with a silly salute. He was a man with a vision. He believed that Italy was destined to become a new Roman Empire, a Mediterranean superpower. He dreamed of conquering vast swaths of North Africa, establishing dominance in the Mediterranean Sea. Problem was, his ambitions far outstripped Italy's actual capabilities. The Italian military, despite its fancy uniforms, was ill-equipped and poorly led. And the Italian people, still recovering from the Great Depression, weren't exactly champing at the bit for another war. Chapter 4, The French Fiasco, Italy Invades France. With Germany making mincemeat of France in 1940, Mussolini saw his chance to grab a piece of the pie. He figured, hey, if the French are already on the ropes, might as well land a few punches and claim some territory. So, on June 10, 1940, Italy declared war on France, launching an invasion from the Alps. But there was just one tiny problem. The Italian invasion of France was an absolute disaster. The French, despite being completely overwhelmed by the Germans, put up a surprisingly fierce resistance. It was a humiliating debut for Mussolini's new Roman Empire. Chapter 5. Greece is the word for defeat. Italy's failed Greek campaign. After the French fiasco, Mussolini was desperate for a win, anything to prove that Italy was a force to be reckoned with. So, he set his sights on Greece, a seemingly easy target. He envisioned a swift victory, a triumphant march into Athens. On October 28, 1940, Italian forces crossed the border from Albania into Greece. And just like the French campaign, it was an unmitigated disaster. The Greek army, though smaller and less equipped than the Italians, fought with incredible tenacity and determination. Within weeks, the invasion had stalled, and by December, the Greeks had launched a counterattack, driving the Italians back into Albania. Chapter 6. Desert Disasters, the North African Campaign. While the Greeks were busy handing Italy its second consecutive defeat, things weren't going much better for Mussolini in North Africa. Italy had long coveted territories in North Africa, seeing it as their rightful sphere of influence. In September 1940, Italian forces based in Libya launched an offensive into Egypt, aiming to capture the strategically vital Suez Canal. But just like in Greece, the Italian campaign quickly bogged down. The British, though outnumbered, were far better equipped and led. Supplies were scarce, tanks got stuck in the sand, and the Italian soldiers, many of whom were conscripts with little training or motivation, were demoralized. By 1943, the writing was on the wall for Mussolini. Italy's military campaigns had been an unbroken string of humiliating defeats. The economy was in shambles, cities were being bombed by the Allies, and public support for the war had evaporated. The Italian people, tired of war, hardship, and Mussolini's empty promises, had had enough. On July 25, 1943, in a dramatic turn of events, the Grand Council of Fascism, the ruling body of Mussolini's regime, voted to strip him of his power. He was arrested by the Italian king, Victor Emmanuel III, and whisked away to a secret location. The news of Mussolini's downfall was met with jubilation in the streets of Rome. After 21 years, Il Duce's reign of power was over. With Mussolini out of the picture, Italy's new government, led by Marshal Pietro Badoglio, faced a critical decision: what to do about the war. The Italian military was in disarray, and the Allies were closing in on the Italian mainland. So, Badoglio did the unthinkable. He reached out to the Allies, secretly negotiating an armistice. On September 3, 1943, the armistice was signed, officially ending Italy's participation in World War II on the side of the Axis powers. Italy was now a defeated nation, occupied by both German and Allied forces. It was a period of immense uncertainty and turmoil. The armistice may have officially ended Italy's involvement in World War II, but it also ignited a bitter civil war. The country was now a battleground, not just between the Allies and Germany, but also between Italians themselves. On one side were the fascist loyalists, who remained fiercely loyal to Mussolini and the ideals of fascism. On the other side were the anti-fascist partisans, a diverse group of Italians who had long opposed Mussolini's rule. The Italian Civil War was a brutal, often merciless conflict, fought in the mountains, villages, and cities of Italy. Chapter 10: Unsung Heroes: The Role of the Italian Resistance. The Italian resistance, often overlooked in the grand narrative of World War II, played a crucial role in the Allied victory. These brave men and women from all walks of life risked their lives to fight for their country's liberation. They conducted sabotage missions, gathered intelligence on German troop movements, and provided safe passage to escaped Allied prisoners of war. They were teachers, farmers, students, factory workers, ordinary Italians who rose to the occasion in extraordinary times. Yet they persevered, their courage and sacrifice paving the way for Italy's eventual liberation. Chapter 11: From the Skies: The Bombing of Italian Cities. As the war raged on, Italian cities became battlegrounds. Allied bombers, targeting strategic infrastructure and industrial centers, rained down destruction from the skies. Cities like Milan, Turin, and Naples were heavily bombed, resulting in widespread devastation and civilian casualties. The bombing campaigns, while strategically necessary, came at a heavy human cost. Thousands of innocent civilians were killed or injured, and entire neighborhoods were reduced to rubble. The psychological impact of the bombings was also profound, leaving lasting scars on the Italian psyche. The destruction wrought by the bombs served as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of war. Chapter 12: Fortress of Blood: The Battle of Monte Cassino. One of the fiercest and most consequential battles of the Italian campaign was fought at Monte Cassino. From January to May 1944, Allied forces launched a series of assaults on the heavily fortified German positions. The fighting was brutal and unrelenting, with heavy casualties on both sides. The monastery itself, bombed by the Allies in the mistaken belief that it was being used as a German observation post, was reduced to rubble. The Battle of Monte Cassino eventually ended in an Allied victory, opening the road to Rome. On June 4, 1944, Allied forces entered Rome, liberating the Eternal City from German occupation. The liberation of Rome was a momentous occasion, a symbol of hope and renewal for a nation that had endured years of war and oppression. For the Italian people, it marked the end of a dark chapter in their history and the beginning of a new era. The sight of Allied soldiers, hailed as liberators, marching through the streets of Rome sparked scenes of jubilation and relief. World War II left an indelible mark on Italy and its people. The war had ravaged the country's infrastructure, shattered its economy, and claimed the lives of hundreds of thousands of its citizens. Families were torn apart, cities lay in ruins, and the trauma of occupation, bombing raids, and civil war cast a long shadow. The war also had a profound impact on Italian society. The fall of fascism created a void that was filled by new political ideologies and movements. Italy emerged from the war a changed nation, grappling with the legacy of conflict and the challenges of rebuilding. The years after World War II were a time of immense challenge and transformation for Italy. The country faced the daunting task of rebuilding its shattered infrastructure, reviving its economy, and healing the wounds of war. Yet, from the ashes of conflict, Italy rose again. With the help of the Marshall Plan, Italy experienced an economic miracle. New industries emerged, cities were rebuilt, and the country underwent a period of remarkable growth and modernization. Italy's post-war recovery was a testament to the resilience and determination of its people. So, there you have it, 15 shocking facts about Italy in World War II that reveal a far more complex and nuanced story than the one often told. Italy's experience during the war was a tumultuous one, marked by ambition, miscalculation, defeat, and ultimately, resilience. From its ill-fated alliance with Nazi Germany to its crucial role in the Allied victory, Italy's story is a reminder that history is rarely black and white. If you found these facts surprising, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more intriguing history videos.